Now this is a quite beautiful park. Just show you what we've got here. It's a lovely day today, which helps. Some great work has been put in to enable you to learn about the history of some of these sites and get the best out of your visit. So we're going to talk about a ha-ha. And I know what you're thinking. What's a ha-ha? Well, actually, you can't really see what it is at this stage, but all will be revealed. But essentially it's a wall. And this would mark the boundary of the original garden from the house. That is a ha-ha, and the house would have been where the shelter is, just there. So if someone says come and see my ha-ha, you know they're probably referring to a garden wall. So yeah, you wouldn't actually know from this view that there's a wall there. Ha-ha. So this shelter marks the site of the original house, and the ha-ha wall is just beyond, but of course it's not easy to see. So house and garden, and then we've got an ornamental garden here, arts and crafts garden. I'll just put the camera up so that you can see. Nice pond there, and this is locked in terms of general public access. Nice magnolia tree. Good, great time of the year for the magnolia blossom. This is another part of the locked off piece of the ornamental garden. So this is like a rose garden. Wishing well over there. That was a fascinating first stop, Haling Grove, where we've seen the nice formally maintained gardens. And then here in this particular area is what used to be sports pitches, football pitches. And there's a bit of gym equipment. This is where there was an accident, Christmas Eve 1924, the flight from Croydon to Paris. The pilot and 7 passengers lost their lives very sadly. So I just had a quick glance at the house where David Lean was born. And also in one of these houses, don't know the exact one, June Brown used to live, and at the time of recording this, sadly June passed away very recently. Rest in peace, June. This is South Croydon Recreation Ground. Very close to the main London to Brighton, I think. Train followers correct me. The main line, I believe, anyway. That's the Thames Link, so that must be. Some land there owned by Lidl. Nothing happened yet. Been like that for some time. Nice playground facilities. You're not camera shy, are you? We have exited South Croydon Recreation Ground, or Rec. St Gertrude's Church. There's a sign on the side of that Body Talk Beauty referencing shoe repairs, and I believe the shop was called Edes, E-D-E-S. So this is Bynes Road. One of the key industrial buildings was the John Cooper's Steam Boot Factory. Probably one of the most important industrial buildings in the town. Bootmaker made the plastic boot, and then finishing was done by hand by outworkers in their own homes, and they were paid for what they produced. He provided workers' houses and 3 shops in Bynes Road, an area that became known as Snob's Island, a snob being the current term for a cobbler. This is Rolleston Hall. I'll pop over and get a bit nearer. And little is known about it. It is understood to be one of the Snob's Island properties. A nice sort of wrought iron sign there. And if you know anything, you know what to do. Answers in the comments, please. and we can get some more info together. Give you an idea of old and new side by side. New buildings here. And then we've got those little terrace there, 3 properties. Looks like 3. Maybe there's been some merging. Another block of new buildings. And then the Red Deer site at the end. Red Deer, not an active pub anymore. Sadly, so many pubs have fallen by the wayside. If you can't get the money in, it's hard to stay open. And there's some, I suppose we'd call them junction improvement works going on here. Still got the sign there in the railings. And obviously at the very top, still got a Red Deer. With some peeling paint, and then a Justin Green grocery. A former function room there just on this side. This is the Brighton Road side, and another view of the Croydon skyline emerging, developing. St Augustine's Church. Lovely building. Nice when the light hits it. This is the South Croydon bus garage. It got hit quite hard in World War II, and Brighton Road is as busy as ever. But this garage has been here for some considerable time. Electric vehicles there, washing facilities. That's for buses, not people. Whitgift School, founded by John Whitgift, 1596, so John Whitgift being one of the Archbishops of Canterbury. That was the old Dove's garage, completely boarded up now. Been car dealership for many years. And a few car dealerships seem to have gone by the wayside since COVID, and people are buying cars online now based on reviews and stuff. Thought I'd at least record the building there because it may well be going soon. Part of the Whitgift estate. We're talking about garages going by the wayside, pubs as well, and again we referenced that with the Red Deer. So this was the Earl of Eldon pub. Hobbs Motor Spares has been there for many years. Really nice building, and great that the business has stood the test of time. You know, it's just great sometimes to stop and to reflect and take these things in. And if you look up, you see a lot of detail. The architecture. But even here, just turn the camera around. Just about make out the top of that building there, Aviation House. Decorative stonework there, next to the Earl of Eldon site. So very sad. And for me, and what I do here, I'm just pleased that the buildings are still standing for now. Look at the decoration on that building there. We've got Sandhurst fillers. Love that business.
Up there you can see the Woodman sign.
Yeah, so the sign for the Woodman there, but pub no more. Drovers Road, the site of, you've guessed it, a cattle market. A cattle market in Croydon. Oh yes. Not anymore, of course. But back in the day, yes. And I've actually got reference to it on a map here, so you can see the exact location. A large impressive wall at the back there. Possibly just mark the boundary. Another view of the flats. Some nice buildings here, and I've just noticed on the wall over there, though I can't work out exactly what it is, but you can probably see there's a mark. Nice symmetrical buildings though, you've got that pointed finish there on both sides, like the pitch finish. And then the 4 properties in the middle, some sort of stepping arrangement with the stonework, and then that rectangle. Answers in the comments, please, folks of Croydon. But throughout this walk, we've seen how old and new can exist side by side, because it had to. In the war, some buildings were obviously bombed out, so you would see a row of older houses and then a new, small block of flats or whatever. But the pleasing thing is that so many of these old buildings do remain. So St Peter's Church, very impressive spire. One of those where you can see from just about every angle in Croydon. And then just up there is, through the gap, South Croydon railway station. It looks like it could be some church building, but we're not quite sure what. Modern windows, but very impressive style. Answers in the comments. Thank you. And when you're coming out of Croydon heading towards, well, Brighton, but let's say Purley, South Croydon, you go past 2 pubs. This is a Swan and Sugarloaf, or was, now Tesco Express. And then the Red Deer that we saw earlier. Well kept building. It's obviously Tesco there on the ground level, but they've maintained it and it looks pretty good still after many, many years. As you can see, 1896. Once upon a time, this had some very grand gardens out the front. So you're coming in towards the camera from south, heading towards London. And this building, the way the land was laid out at that time, was one of the first things you saw. So at a very grand front, grand gardens. Now it's a business. It's kind of blocked a little bit by this building, which is, I believe, an old bank. Positive, the building still stands. But obviously, time has taken its toll a little bit on here in the wider area. And just a little view of Southend. You can just about see Southend written above the shops there and the architecture. And that's something we can cover another day. Just for some context, there's the NatWest over there. Spire of St Peter's Church and the Swan and Sugarloaf. Location there was the classic cinema. Nice sort of Art Deco style up there, I'm guessing. Hadn't done my research on this one, guys. And then it was a comedy store. And then there was a car showroom in that location now where there's lots of boards and things. And I can remember a Croydon Advertiser offices there where Wandle Apartments is, just on the corner by those lights, Bartlett Street. My preference is for just names to change and fit outs to be done inside, but I appreciate things have to be pulled down. And of course, nowadays, a lot of the older buildings, they're really not efficient in terms of energy usage. I get that, but I can still be an old architectural romantic. This is the cricket ground as part of the Whitgift School. Being very carefully prepared. Beautiful playing surface. For a while, Surrey played some matches here, but they don't anymore, as I understand it. Another view of the impressive sporting facilities at Whitgift School. See the rooftops from the main school buildings there, because it sort of drops down, as you saw from the shape of the cricket pitch. Once again, very impressive facilities here at Whitgift School. So back now at Haling Grove, that's just behind me. I hope you've enjoyed this walk and talk of South Croydon. There's been so much to see, a real mixture of history, old and new side by side, A lot of things that we don't really know the full story on, and hopefully you can help us. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.